That seemed in sync for me, but we're always
Okay, great. Let's
thinking
go
the
with it.
opposite.
Let's go with it. Welcome, everyone. Muscle Science for Women, your favorite podcast, your favorite
Welcome.
hosts, your favorite topics, your favorite, our favorite. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Welcome.
How's it going? You're
Hold
feeling
on, I have to
better. You're
cough.
not, oh, I was gonna say you're not sick anymore. You're feeling better, but you just had to take a
No,
moment to cough.
yeah,
So
I'm feeling better, but still a little lingering uh
yeah,
throat stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Immune system hates me this year, apparently.
I
So
don't know.
that's not been fun.
Yeah,
Hoping
it's
for
rough.
better in the new year.
Well, you're going into the winter, so it's probably not looking too great because
Yeah.
I feel like it only gets worse in the winter, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, how are you? How's pregnancy life?
It's fine, I guess. I do have a topical story I can just quickly share. I was at the gym today because again, I'm in the second trimester now. I'm 24 weeks. I'm like moving right along. So I'm in that stage where I feel like pretty good. Like I definitely look pregnant, so I don't have to feel like I just look like a gross blob anymore. I feel okay. I'm not so tired and miserable from the first trimester, but I'm not so uncomfortable yet, like near the end that I'm miserable. So I'm kind of in like a bit of a sweet spot. And I was at the gym today, and this woman, she was about my age, and she was great. She was not being rude or weird in any way, but I was working out, and she's like, "You ready for that baby or what?" And I was like, "Actually, no, I'm not even close to being ready. Like I'm 24 weeks." She kind of looked at me, like kind of looked at my belly, and was like, "Hmm." I was like, "I'm not
Oh my gosh.
big." But anyway, I was like, "No,
Uh,
I'm not anywhere close." But then we had a good chat about like it's good. She was very supportive. She's like, it's good you're in here, you got to do it, whatever. And I was like, yeah, it's true. Because if I stop now at this point, it will be so much harder for me to start again when the time comes. But I'm like, I didn't think I was that big. But I guess once you look like a visibly pregnant person in the gym, people are just kind of like, you're a bit of a sideshow. Like you look
yeah.
like people. And I definitely am getting, it's funny because in previous years, like pre-baby, and I'm sure you experience this too, depending on the gym you go to, certain gyms are kind of like places to check people out and like look at people and everybody's kind of checking each other out. And I've been to some very meathead gyms where everybody's staring at each other and everybody's like sizing each other up and trying to pick each other up and all this stuff. I've been
Hmm.
out of that vibe for a very long time. So I'm not used to people like looking at me in the gym anymore. I'm just like, I'm not paying attention. I don't want anybody to look at me. And at this gym, I feel like there's like a lot of like older men who again are just like looking at me like I'm a freak show because I'm
Oh my
like
God.
this pregnant woman working out. And I'm like, I get
That's
so mad. I'm
so
like staring
annoying.
back at them. I'm like, stop looking at me.
That's
What
so
have you ever seen
annoying.
a pregnant woman before? Like it's less annoying when they're looking at you almost in like I like what I see way versus like I'm just watching you like you're a science experiment. I'm just like,
What the?
stop looking at me. I hate you. And
You need
when
to
you
you need to get a shirt that says, I'm gonna get you that says, stop looking at me.
stop looking at this. Like my eyes are up
Yeah, on
here,
your belly.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should definitely do that. But yeah, like the
It'll be
guys
funny.
who at least have the good sense of like when you get caught staring and they like make eye contact with you, look away. Don't keep staring at me, you weirdo. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm coming in hot already with the podcast, but
I
that's
love
was
it.
my morning gym experience. That's all
Mhm.
I got to say about that. We have some fun questions in the inbox, and I want to get into some of them. And oh,
Let's do
actually,
it.
this is an excellent segue because I just finished talking about people being weird at the gym. You forwarded one from Eleanor
Oh yeah.
about gym etiquette. So I love this. She
Yes.
says, idea for podcast topic gym etiquette, how to exist in a gym. I see so many people who have no clue, though mostly through no fault of their own, thinking you could do a segment, or there might be a segment of your audience that doesn't know, like how to ask somebody how many sets they have left, or creating a circuit in a public
Hmm.
gym in a busy time is a douche move, etc. So
Yeah.
I love this because this is something totally I think we take for granted, and probably a lot of people who have been in the gym for a long time take for granted that we assume gym etiquette is common sense, but obviously it isn't. And I'd love to like put this on social media and be like, what are your
Yeah.
biggest pet peeves or the things you see the most? Because there is some wild stuff that people do, I guess, in the gym. But do
Yeah.
you do you have like some that like really get on your nerves?
So, okay, first of all, shout out. This is my client, Eleanor, one of my one-on-one clients, and she has been absolutely crushing it for the past 6+ months. So shout out to her. But yeah, I feel like there's some things that annoy me, but also things that I'm just like, I guess one of the biggest things is like, if someone's waiting for the machine, instead of just like standing there staring at me while I'm trying to like get through my sets and like I can literally, like, that I saw you, right? Ask me how many sets I have left so that you can kind of like come back or like be a little bit further away because this happened to me the other day. Like someone was just standing there staring at me for like 5+ minutes when I had just started my set. And I'm like, it was on the pendulum squat. I'm like, I'm trying to focus here. Like
Hmm.
I'm taking three plus minutes rest in between every single set. And you're just like standing there staring at me while I'm trying to work. It's distracting, right? It's like, okay, I get it. You're waiting for the machine. I can let you know. And sometimes I'll like, even if this happens, like this happened a few times. Sometimes if I know that they're standing there staring, they haven't said anything to me, I'll be like, I have like X amount of sets left, probably about like 8 minutes. And I'll come find you like if like when I'm
Hmm.
done. Like I'll
Hmm.
actively say that because it's so distracting.
Hmm.
So that's one thing, like gym etiquette. I know that it might seem weird. I think one thing, like one tip I'll give is first of all, don't ever interrupt someone in the middle of their set. Like, don't ask how many sets you have left while they're actively working.
Working.
That
Yeah.
is the worst thing you can do. Wait till they're
Hmm.
finished and you know for sure they're done. And then just be like, "Hey, I'm just wondering how many sets you have left just so I can kind of come back around when you think you'll be done or whatever." And that's the
Hmm.
best way to do it versus just sitting there staring, in my opinion. Um, and people
Yes.
appreciate that. Like I appreciate when people do that versus just standing there awkwardly distracting my set, right? Anyways,
Hmm.
this gets me heated because like I feel like this has happened more frequently than it has in the past, like the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
like a weird,
what do
like
you
passive
think?
aggressive thing. Like, do people think that that's more or less rude than just simply waiting until someone's not working out and saying, "Hey, excuse me, like, how much longer are you going to be?" That's direct and straightforward
Hmm.
and considerate. You know, you're allowed to talk to people in the gym. Just don't interrupt their set and
Yeah,
don't hover and stare at them while they're working out. It's weird.
yeah.
Um,
Or
yeah,
like stand to the side, like on sometimes if I know like they're almost done and I don't want to like ask them, I'll like literally stand far away in the corner and be on my phone, like not looking at them, like actively not looking at them, but like in my peripheral vision, I can kind of see when they're finishing up so they don't
yeah,
feel the pressure. Um,
yeah.
that's another kind of thing. Like if you're not comfortable talking to people, like just keep your distance and pretend that you're not staring.
Yes. Yeah. Um, Sort of the opposite side of that, one thing that I think I see a lot more of in recent years than previously are people who are like maybe you're on a machine, say you're on like leg extension, and your rests between end up like 6 minute long scrolling on your phone sessions. It's like,
Mm,
be
yeah.
considerate, okay? Like, we all lose track of time when we're on our phones. All the more reason to maybe not be so attached to scrolling your phone in the middle of a workout. It's not good for your own concentration, and you're
Mm,
wasting other people's time. Like, there have been times when I'm like waiting for one machine and somebody's sitting there for 30 minutes because they're taking a break and looking at their phone in between sets. I'm like, do you not see that there are people around? Like, get off your damn phone and get off the machine. Like, let
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a crappy move.
I've experienced that as well too. And I'll just like actively, if I notice it, I'll just actively be like, hey, how many sets do you have left? Because
Yes.
sometimes that will too, like sometimes people don't notice that you're waiting. A lot of the
Mhm.
times they don't notice that you're waiting. So like if you actively just ask them, then they'll know,
Yeah.
okay, someone's waiting for the machine. I probably shouldn't be scrolling my phone for 20 minutes in between sets.
Yep. Yep. The creating a circuit, like getting 8 different size dumbbells for your circuit during like busy hour at the gym is also kind of a douche move. It's a gray area though, because again, like if there's no one around, if there's nobody,
Mhm.
whatever, if you're not sort of infringing on anybody else's space, kind of do you. But I just feel like my actual biggest pet peeve, I think, in life, and I've said this so many times because it really gets me like so irate. It might be the like New Yorker in me, so I don't know if you feel this way too. it's lack of situational awareness in
Mhm.
general, like people who just seem to be oblivious of anything that is outside their immediate like physical space.
100%.
So like the people who, walk outside of a store onto like a busy street and like stop in the middle of the sidewalk and like rifle through their purse or like go on their phone or something. Like there's people on the sidewalk. There's other
Yeah,
people in
that's
the
definitely in
world.
New York because I for sure understand exactly what you're saying.
It gets
Yeah.
me so mad. Like it's okay to, oh, I bumped into you by accident, or like, oh, I didn't see you there, or whatever. But people who just like have no concept of the world around them, and that's partly like those people go to the gym too sometimes. And those are the people who are like, I'm going to take up all the space, not because I'm trying to be a dick, because I literally have no understanding or consideration of the people around me. Because I guess I think I'm the main character and everybody else is just sort of here, So
Mhm.
that kind of etiquette is hard to fix because that's more of like a personality thing than a I think common decency thing. That can be pretty
Mhm.
tough.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
yeah.
oh, sorry.
No,
No, you
no,
finish.
that's I think
No,
I
I was just
think
gonna say on the
go
you
ahead.
go.
I'm shutting up. I'm shutting up.
No, you go. You go.
I
I've been
really don't
talking.
have anything else to say. I mean, I think we could probably sit here and like come up with a bunch of other things that irritate us.
Yeah.
Don't stare at people a lot. If you like something or if you want to talk to them, figure it out for yourself, feel it out. But like don't stare at people constantly. Like I have felt literally since I've been pregnant, I'm saying I have felt so uncomfortable, and not because it's like dudes who are like, "Hey, like I like it." Just guys who are like staring at me because I look different or something. And I'm just like, I don't look at me. Go look at what you're doing, old man.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in this. The one other thing I will say, and this is something I want to hear your thoughts on because you do a lot more recording workouts in public gyms
Mm.
than I do. I can't do it. I feel so uncomfortable. But there's whole reels and stuff dedicated to this.
Oh, I just lost you for a second. Hold on. Is your microphone? Did it get unplugged? Weird. Hold on. Is it me? No.
Hello? Is it
Oh,
back?
yeah, it's back.
That was weird. Nothing changed. That
Weird.
was very weird.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Alright.
so we'll edit that. Like you've set up a
Or
tripod,
not.
you're doing a workout in a public place, and someone walks in front of it, and the influencer is like all pissed. And then all the comments are people freaking out, like, stop recording in a gym. And I know that there's sort of probably a happy medium in there. Some gyms are more open to this kind of stuff. If you're being discreet, if you're not filming other people, like if there's no chance that other
Mhm.
people are going to be walking, but like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm not the most uptight about it, but I also sometimes do kind of roll my eyes at like the lengths some people will go to in a public space to just like
Yeah.
not really, again, be considerate that there are other people around while they're filming. Like,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on that part of the etiquette side of it?
So I would say if I was not like I do a lot of on like with my one-on-one clients and even my group coaching, I actually ask them to record themselves for form feedback because I'm not there with them in person. So like that's another side of it, but if I wasn't doing that, I would probably like get more annoyed, but because I've one recorded myself a bunch of times and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like you're trying to get content, or secondly, which is more important, like you're trying to look at your form because that's how you get better at what you're doing. And I encourage all my clients to record their sets, especially like movements that they're wanting feedback on. Like we do that every week in my group coaching. They submit videos and we go through it in the group, like on the Zoom call. We're like, hey, and I kind of point out like technique things, but I wouldn't be able to do that unless they recorded themselves and I could see their specific, set. So I think it's just about being courteous. Like, okay, if you're going to set up like a tripod or like, most people or most of my clients like put their phone just like in selfie mode, like on their water bottle or whatever, and like kind of next to them on the side, just do it in a way that's like you're understanding if people walk by it or whatever and you don't get pissed, like whatever, who cares, just keep going. That's kind of my thought process. And the other thing is just like not trying, like when you do it, just be considerate. Like don't
Yeah.
block someone else's equipment or, from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't really like annoy me because I'm like in it, and I do it myself, and I recommend my clients do it. So I kind of like promote people to do that so
Mm-hmm.
that you can get better at what you're doing, especially with squats and RDLs. Like if you can't see yourself doing something, how do you know what, or if I can't see it, how do I know what you're doing wrong or right, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Try to be
that makes
discreet,
sense.
and it's, it may be important for you to do, but it's never more important than like infringing on someone else's space or
Hmm.
privacy. So it's like, if you can't do it in a way that isn't obnoxious, then I don't know, figure it out or wait to a different time or move to a different place or something. But I do
Yeah.
think there is a certain level of people kind of expect, like a lot of people are recording themselves these days, and
Hmm.
you can do it in a way that is like more or less obnoxious. But I think
Yeah.
when it comes to the gym, it's like common decency and politeness rules should apply. Put things back when you're done. If I go to the hack squat or the leg press and there are 6 plates on each side, you're a dick. Don't do that.
Yeah.
If you're strong enough to lift it, you're strong enough to put it away. Put your
100%.
stuff away. So put your stuff away. Ask people politely if you want to use something and you're unsure. Don't hover, don't stare, don't be weird.
Yeah.
Don't take up more space than you need. Just be considerate. Think about
Hmm.
other people, like
Yeah.
it's really not that
And
hard.
one thing I want to say really quickly, and then we can kind of finish up this topic, although I do think this is a relevant topic and people probably deal with this often,
Totally.
it's just like, for example, for programming and even in our muscle science forum program, we have like supersets, right? Where you're doing one exercise and then going right into the other one.
Mhm.
Typically, we try to like when we're programming, we try to be mindful of that. So if it's like, okay, we want like you're doing, hamstring curls and then I don't know, like an ab movement or something, flutter kicks while you're holding a dumbbell. This is just random. Bring the dumbbell over next to the leg curl machine if you have room versus like going all the way back and forth and then you get pissed when someone takes the machine. So just being
Mhm.
smart about that. But then also like you'll see people who are doing supersets and they'll just like leave all their stuff on the machine and then leave for like 5 minutes. And
Mhm.
people come and they're like, there's stuff in this machine. What do I do? With that, I'm like, okay, if you know you're leaving for like 5 minutes, put your stuff next to the machine. And if you see someone that is actively looking at the machine, just tell them that they can work in, right? Just be like, hey, work in, I'm doing a superset. Or even if you're standing right next to the machine doing like, I don't know, I think we have one of these supersets where it's like a leg extension with a uh, oh my gosh, like a goblet squat, right? Like
Mm.
whatever to kill your quads.
Mhm.
I don't know if we have that in the MSW program, but anyway, that's like a fun one if you want to feel death. Um, but with that type of thing, it's like, okay, if you know you're going to be off the leg extension for like 2 or 3 minutes, right? In with your rest and someone's there, just say, hey, work in. Like it's fine.
Mhm.
Um, don't take over the whole machine and not use it for 5 minutes and not let somebody else use it. So I think that's something too. Like some of my clients kind of, and I'm sure you've had this too. They're like, what do I do like in this situation? Just
Mhm.
be aware is the biggest
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah,
Anyways,
treat people how you would want to be treated too. Like you
yeah,
probably wouldn't want someone hovering around you. You probably wouldn't want
yeah,
someone like being annoying in your personal space. So just like be
yeah,
considerate. Okay, so that's I think a
yeah.
pretty good little synopsis, but I would love to hear what other folks think. So if you guys have like a funny story of someone being horrible or just like
Mhm.
a crazy or something we've missed, send us an email, muscle science for women at gmail, the number 4, and we can continue the conversation because I like to hear a funny story. But I think that pretty
Yes.
much covered it.
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about the one big meal email too. I think
Okay.
this one's funny. Um, we don't know who sent this because the email is weird and it's not a name, so that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Um, do you want to read it?
Sure. It says, hi, Ashley and Rachel. I was looking for a good workout science pod and found you all. So
What
glad.
up?
We're glad too. I've learned so much while binging for the last week. I'm 19 and working out to gain muscle. It has been so encouraging to listen to your advice on food and fuel for this. I'm very excited. That makes us very happy.
Mm-hmm.
You've been asking for a silly question, so I thought this one would be fun. They said, I have been watching mukbang vids on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. That is not uh that is not X-rated, by the way, or it doesn't have to
Okay.
be. It might sound bad, but do you know what? Have
Okay,
you
there's
ever
an
heard of
X.
it?
No, but there's an explanation below. So I was like,
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know what that is. So it's people eating 8,000 to 12,000 calories in one sitting It's repulsive yet captivating. Oh my God, that sounds really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they said, hypothetically, could someone eat one huge meal and let those calories feed their body over the course of a couple days? If no, could you discuss why that wouldn't work? In theory, if a body uses, let's say, 2,000 calories a day, eating one 8,000 calorie meal could last you 4 days. Why is this not done? Question mark.
Cool. So I do like kind of interesting outside of the
Yeah.
box questions like this. So I do know about these videos and I
You'll have to send
don't,
me one.
yeah, well, I can find, and like it sounds like inherently dirty. And I'm sure there is a dirty aspect to it because I know that there's like videos of like hot girls eating and there's like an ASMR aspect. So you can really hear everything and you're like seeing them eat,
Gosh.
which for some people is like your worst nightmare. It's like the most disgusting
Yeah.
thing you can imagine. But for
Oh
other
my God,
people,
Alex would hate that.
yeah, it's
If I
pretty, I mean,
even make a noise when I'm chewing, I get like secluded.
well, there are people who have like full on like phobias of like listening to
Yeah, it's like a
people
thing.
chew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't watch them, but I have watched a couple and I will admit, like I've watched a couple Coney Island hot dog
Oh
competitions.
yeah.
Like I'm grossed out by it personally, but I understand the sort of fascinating part of it. And I think there's probably like a whole subsect of people who maybe, and this is stereotypical. I'm not saying everyone who watches these videos is has a problem, but I'm saying that maybe some people who have some food fixations, maybe some unhealthy attitudes towards food would really kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like you're vicariously living through other
Hmm.
people eating all this stuff. And we don't know, there are personalities who got very famous doing this and get very rich doing this, and there have been individuals who over the course of like years you've seen them gain exorbitant amounts of weight and get really unhealthy, and that's a whole thing. And then there are people who are competitive eaters who are maybe very, very healthy eaters who have just learned how to do this one weird binging thing
Hmm.
infrequently. So, there's a lot that goes into it. We're not experts on this,
Yeah.
obviously, but um, I think there's a couple reasons why this is not something that is commonly done and certainly not routinely or sustainably done for people who want to be healthy is, and like one of the biggest ones right off the bat is that it's very difficult and uncomfortable to eat that much, right? So most people can't comfortably eat a few days worth of calories in one sitting. It's going to
Hmm.
stretch your stomach. It's going to maybe make you feel
Yeah.
nauseous. It's going to be hard to digest. It's going to impact your digestion. Some people could get sick and throw it back up. It's not, your body isn't meant to overfill, your stomach doesn't want to eat that much.
Hmm.
So that's like the first thing right off the bat is that that's not comfortable for people and it can affect your digestion, which is going to affect your ability to kind of take in the nutrients and use them as energy. And imagine like trying to
Hmm.
go exercise or work or function for an hour
Yeah.
after that, after you've eaten, 12,000 calories, you
Yeah.
feel like garbage, right? Um,
Yeah.
so that's a big part of it. And there's also the idea of like using and storing nutrients. Like technically, if you're taking in 10,000 calories in a short period, I guess if you aren't throwing it up or digesting it and excreting it quickly, maybe you're taking in enough calories to last you a couple days, but it's not like it's just sitting somewhere innocuously to be used as energy. It's being stored. That's the whole
Hmm.
thing of overeating. You're overeating, it's getting stored as fat. It's not like, ooh, quick energy that I get
Yeah.
to use and go like burn off in the gym.
Hmm.
You're storing fat. And then the last thing I'll say, and then you can add to it, is, and I think again, I think this person is probably asking this like tongue in cheek. I don't know if this is like a plan they're trying to figure out if it works for
Hmm.
them, but there's also the idea, especially for women, that we tend to do better with more obviously routine, consistent approaches to how we eat. And that may
Uh-huh.
mean cycling food, it may mean a little bit of fasting, it may mean whatever, but it's certainly, we're not going to benefit, we're not going to optimize by eating a ton of food one day and then not eating for 3 or 4 days. Our body's not going to like
Yeah.
that. Our hormones are not going to like that. That's not going to go over well. So I think that's
Yeah.
why it's more of a novelty or a gross novelty than a thing that people
Hmm.
actually do. Do you have any additional thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think first of all, it's just not like realistic for most people in all
Yeah.
the things that you said, but also because like for me, I'm like, I like to eat. So like I want to have multiple times throughout the day that I'm eating, unless I'm doing like a specific fasting thing or something, which I haven't done in a while. Um, so that's I'm not like I don't want to eat 8,000 calories and then not eat for 4 days. Like that's no fun.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing is like, yeah, technically to answer this question, if we're being technical, it's not like a 1 for 1 where it's like, oh, you say your maintenance is 2,000 calories a day. This is just easy math. And say you eat 8,000 calories in one day, like, will it balance out to those next 4 days, right? 2,000 times 4 is 8,000. 1 to 1, it doesn't work like that. It's not like exactly, oh, you ate 8,000 calories in this one sitting and now, it's going to divide out to 2,000 for the next 4 days, because your body takes a lot of energy to actually digest that food too, and kind of other things that play into it. So it's never like a 1 to 1 exact thing. Just like, people hear, 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories. That's not an exact science. Like it doesn't exactly work out to that.
Hmm.
Overall, over time, averages and things like that, potentially yes, but there's no like exact math there. However, yes, in the sense of like, if you are, and this comes back to like what you talked about calorie cycling, right? So we use calorie cycling sometimes with our clients, especially if there's, people who like to enjoy more food on the weekend and maybe they're more in their routine during the week and maybe potentially they have like a fat loss goal and they're looking to adhere to a deficit. It could be like, okay, for 5 days of the week, you're eating X amount of calories. And then on the weekend, you have a little bit more calories on the weekend to work with. But by the end of the week, when you add up all of those days of calories, it equals to what you want your deficit to be for the end of that week, right? So, yes, looking at calories on a weekly basis can be used as a strategy tool. There's another scenario where I do this with some clients where they have like training day calories and non-training day calories. And it means like maybe on training days, they get like an extra 200 calories, right? On their training days. And maybe on the rest days, it's, 200 less. But by the end of the week, it balances out to whatever that weekly average is that we want, or that weekly amount of calories. So yes, that is logistically, it could balance out at the end of the week if you consume 8,000 calories on one day and then you don't eat again for the next 4 days. By the end of the week, you could be in a net calorie balance. Yes. But practically, that's not for most people going to be something that they do. I think it's calorie cycling is much more looking at the small, right? I said 200 calories, like that's a small amount. You're not doing
Hmm.
like, unless you're doing like a fasting day and you're like taking your calories down like a PSMF day to 1,000 calories. That's a little bit more extreme in the sense of like, you'd really have to plan for that. But again, it's not something that's you would be doing every single day. And it would be very strategic in the way that you kind of planned it out. It wouldn't be like a 0 to 8,000 calorie difference. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of like from a logistical standpoint, what I have to say.
Sweet. I love that. And I just want to say again, I love every single one of our listeners from everywhere in the world and every gender and age and background. But I do really like when teenagers listen because
Mhm.
it's like you are at an age where you can really learn and it can have so much impact on the rest of your life's health and training journey. And again, not to sound too like crazy or old, but like I didn't have any
Mm.
science backed women focused podcast to listen to when I was in the gym when I was a teenager. And it would have been probably pretty cool to have that. So I love that there are
Yeah.
younger people listening. It's very awesome.
Yeah. Did I tell you that last week? Sorry, I just want to mention this too because it was really
Yeah.
cool. Last week, Bree and I went to a local high school because one of our friends is the PE teacher at this high school, and
Hmm.
we got to talk to 50 juniors and seniors, girls,
No, you
for
didn't tell
like
me this.
I didn't tell you that. Oh, I'll have to
No.
send you the Instagram post. It, it's on my feed, but basically
Okay.
we just went and we like kind of put together this lecture type thing, and we were there for like 2-3 hours, and we did a little basically importance of building muscle and like why it's so important, and like kind of like the main points of like how you build muscle. And then we took them through like a workout, and then we did like a nutrition segment at the end and like the importance of protein and all this stuff. And we both went into it like, okay, what would we have wanted to know when we were in high school? and all of these things. I'm like you just said, like if I knew these things, um, it would make such a difference. And it was really, really cool because they were very much engaged. And then afterwards, like a bunch of them were like coming up asking us questions. Like, I'm really
So
looking to build
cool.
muscle. And like, I was just, yeah, it was really, really cool. So,
Was it met like boys and girls?
no, just girls.
That's very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
on one hand, I'm like, it would be also very cool for young men to
Oh,
listen
yeah,
and learn from
100%.
women too.
Yeah.
But that's so
Yeah.
badass. That's very cool that you got to do that.
Yeah. And we're planning to
Sweet.
do a few more too because there's so many high schools around here. Um, and it's like we just kind of like from like a giving back standpoint, like this is
Yeah.
all stuff that I would like would have changed my life, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of how we're going at it. So yeah.
That's amazing. So cool.
Yes.
Okay, I think we can answer one more quick question here.
Mhm.
This one from Christy, super quick. She's saying, "Hi there, love your show. I've been listening for about 2 years. Amazing." So you basically
Mm.
started listening when it got really good when Rachel came on as a co-host.
Oh no, it was
Um,
great before that. Don't start.
so she's saying, since listening, I've learned the benefits of organ meat. Good for
Oh.
you. She's saying, however, I have a really hard time eating it. Fair. I've seen many advertisements for Primal Queen. I want to hear your take on this. Is it really worth it, or is eating the actual meat still a better
Mhm.
option? So, when she
This
first
is your
said,
wheelhouse.
yeah, when she first said Primal Queen, I'm like, are you talking about me? I
Yeah.
was like, I feel so flattered. I have a new nickname. I love that. And then I was like, oh no, it's a company. It's a company
I was
that
gonna
makes,
say new handle.
I know, I love it. Um, it's a company that makes organ meat, desiccated organ meat capsules. There's a bunch of companies. I
Mhm.
think they just are sort of focusing on women, which is fine.
Mhm.
And the long and short of it is eating the real food is better. Absolutely. It's less processed. It's going to be more nutrient dense, like a couple ounces of liver or heart or something is going to give you more than a couple pills. It's also way, way, way cheaper to just eat some chicken hearts or eat some liver pate or something. Supplements, as we know, are not cheap, and organ meat supplements are definitely not cheap. So, full stop, it's better. And I would
Mhm.
encourage you, if you are a meat eater and if you are open to the idea and receptive to the fact that organ meats are healthy, I encourage you to keep trying. I don't want anyone to choke down liver every day for their health if they hate it. But I think, again, I wrote an entire book on this. So I think if you care about it and you're interested and you're willing to experiment a little bit, you can try some other cuts. You can try some other preparation. Reach out to me if you want. I have a free ebook on my website, but I have an entire cookbook that's like, this is not that bad. You can find ways to enjoy it. There's probably a couple things in there that you will actually enjoy eating. So I encourage you to go that route. However, if you have done your homework and your due diligence and you've tried and you cannot make it happen, and you have the financial freedom to get the supplements can be helpful. And I think we still have, I'll put it in the show notes. I'm 99% sure we still have an active link to Optimal Carnivore. They were
Mhm.
a sponsor of ours for a while, and they're not actively a sponsor anymore, but I still would recommend them as a company because it's a product I've used and like. Um, and so we'll put that link in the show notes if you want to try them out. I think for the most part, a lot of these companies are probably pretty similar in terms of like how much product they're putting in the pills, like as long as they're, third party tested, as long as they're most of them are going to be like organic grass-fed sources. Like if they can tell you where they're getting their product from, like you want to do a little bit of your research to make sure it's just like well done
Mhm.
production and high quality product. So I don't know. Again, I haven't used Primal Queen, but I know Optimal Carnivore has a good quality product. So we'll put that link in the show notes. But yeah, at the end of the
And
day,
also Paleovalley, right?
Paleovalley is good, and they also were a sponsor
We
of
have a
ours.
yeah.
So we'll see. I'll see what links we still have that are
Mhm.
active because it'll be discounts for you guys. So
Yeah.
we'll see what we have. We'll put it in the show notes. Good call. But yeah, I think as far as like a decent multivitamin that you can kind of take all the time, that probably is going to have a cumulative net benefit for you. Organ meat supplements are good, but it's not going to be as good as literally just eating a couple ounces of it like once or twice a
Mhm.
month. So
Mhm.
That's my feeling. And I think
Agreed.
you probably would agree, even though you're not a super
No,
fan of
I
organ meats
agree.
yourself.
Yeah, and I keep the like on rotation. Like I'll go through like a bottle of organ meats and then like take a little bit of time off and then bring back in.
Hmm.
Um, I just yeah, I've never gotten into like the actual. I'm just like lazy. I haven't been cooking as much as I used to. I've just been putting things on repeat. So I haven't gotten super
Oh, excuse me.
creative, bless you,
Oh, thank
creative
you.
with that stuff. But who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll sneak it in. I'm doing a Friendsgiving for Thanksgiving this year. Like
Sneak it
we're not
in.
going anywhere. We're just having like our friends at my friend's house. Maybe I'll sneak it into this stuffing. Hey, there's
I
liver in your stuffing.
I mean, I just this is kind of like an aside, but I just went to recently. I was in California because I was doing a podcast for well, I'll talk about that at another
Hmm.
time, but the podcast that I was doing, the host had made liver smoothies. And it's funny because that's one thing I've actually never done. I don't do a lot of
Mm.
raw liver. I like raw meat, but I don't do a lot of raw liver. And she made like a raw liver smoothie, which was all just like totally tasty, easy ingredients. It was like raw honey and berries and some other delicious stuff. And then just like maybe a couple cubes of just like fresh raw liver.
Hmm.
And you mix it up, and
Interesting.
you'd never ever know there
Really?
was anything in it. It's all about with liver, especially, it's all about the proportions and the amounts. If you put too much, all you taste is liver. And for people who don't like liver, that's a problem. If you do the right amount, the right ratios, you do not taste a thing, but you are
Mm.
still getting the nutrition because it's so nutrient dense. Like it is so, you literally need a couple ounces to get so much benefit. So
Hmm.
maybe try a
Cool.
raw liver smoothie and just don't tell anybody. Just lie. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Well, that was good.
Cool. I think
I think we
we,
killed it.
yeah, sweet.
Sounds
Do we have
good. All right.
anything else for this?
No, I think we're good. Again, you know how to find us on Instagram. You can
Hmm.
send us an email, musclescienceforwomen@gmail.com. We've got a
Hmm.
bunch of programs for you if you're
Yeah.
interested. We have a discount for military, medical, first responders. Send us an
Hmm.
email and we would be happy to give you a discount to join one of our programs.
Yes. And if
And
you're looking at our programs over the holidays, also send us an email because we probably have a holiday discount
smart. We
that
should come up with that.
we can share. But yeah.
Yes, we'll come up with one of
So
those
if
for
you're listening
you.
to this and it's around Thanksgiving to Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever
Yeah.
that time
Yeah,
period is, shoot
smart.
us an email.
We're going to do that. We've got a discount for you. Smart thinking, Rachel. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Until next time, don't do stupid shit.
Don't be insane.
Bye. Love you.
Bye. I love you.